house, which is beautiful, by the way. I kind of want to give you a tour of somebody else's house, even though it's not mine, because it's so beautiful in here. I'm here to interview Emily today, and I want to give you just a little tiny bit of a background, how I met Emily, and just a little bit of something super special to me about her, because I totally feel like it's relevant. I met Emily through just homeschooling our kids. We took some classes, and we ended up, both of us, actually working at this program, and something really significant happened to me there. I have my oldest son, and he just works things out differently in his brain, and things are a lot harder for him. And I think a lot of people would see his behavior, see things that he does sometimes, and just kind of write him off a little bit. At least that's been my experience. And this beauty sort of changed our worlds a bit, because what she did was she came into his life, and you will come here? Of course you do, because you're so cute. She just kind of came into his life, went into his world, and accepted him exactly the way he was, and just loved him through it. And to me, that is living a life of wholeness and working towards wholeness, because it's not giving up on someone or getting rid of something or someone. It's saying, I see what's going on here, I'm not blind to it, but it's okay, because I love him and I want to work with him. And and we had just sort of met, and so it wasn't like, well, I really like Nicole, so I'm gonna love on her son. It was, she just picked up and loved on him, and it really changed a lot of things, because in my heart I found a little bit more hope, because I'm like, there's people that are gonna love him no matter what. It's not just me that is his mom or his dad, so it was very special to me. This woman is very special to me. So I thought it'd be really wonderful for you all to meet her, because I think she probably will be mad at me. No, not really. Or embarrassed of me. But I just feel like she has a lot to offer, and she's got a lot of wisdom. And so I just wanted
It's the gray hair.
Then let me stop dyeing mine. So I just wanted to chat with her a little bit today, and just talk to her about any type of journey that she's on, because we're all on a journey, and I want to hear a piece of her journey and what is bringing her closer to wholeness in her life.
So what I kind of, when this was brought up, the first thing that popped into my mind was a life of simplicity. That is what I strive for. Obviously not in my stuff in my home, because I love old stuff, and I love things that remind me of family from before.
I love that. It is simple in here, though. It's beautiful and simple, so you're doing a good job hiding your stuff if it's not.
It comes and goes. But the verse that always sticks in my heart and sticks in my mind is, make it your goal to live a quiet life, minding your own business and working with your hands, just as we instructed you before. Then people who are not believers will respect the way you live, and you will not need to depend on others. And I feel like in our society today, wanting to be in everybody's life and business and stuff and social media, I love Instagram, I still am on Facebook, I still love knowing what's going on with friends that I don't get to see all the time, especially since becoming a mom, and living out where we live. My friends are really spread out, and family, but at the same time keeping that balance. I guess.
Yeah. So, which is really hard for a go society to choose the balance.
Right.
Because it's a choice.
And having an opinion about everything and everybody.
Yes.
So I love just creating a space and creating a place where we homeschool, we're here a lot, and having a place that is just comfortable and warm and not high maintenance, but at the same time taken care of.
So you're talking about simplicity in your physical home, simplicity in relationships, sort of over social media, but it really is, right?
Yeah.
Because it plays such a huge part in our life. So in finding a way to be simple in all kinds of areas, like homeschooling and with your children, and it's obviously important. And so I'm wondering, in your heart and mind, what brought you to a place where you're like, this simplicity, it matters enough to me to put it throughout my whole life? What made you think that?
That is a good question. I feel like part of it was probably my childhood. I grew up with my little brother and a dad that stayed home with us, and he was always just so creative, but a lot of times we would just play with things that, we just had, like drawing on foil, or like just building things that he had in the garage, or it wasn't these big extravagant things. We had 3 acres and we just played, and my dad was good at keeping it fun and creative and simple, but at the same time, like teaching us the things that were important, like working hard, but respecting that other people have different opinions, and that, this is what we believe and why. And
so you were sort of raised that way. Did you see an opposite in any other area that made you be like, oh, I don't want this, I definitely want?
I went through a phase in my late teens where I like wanted to move to New York, and I wanted to live in a big city, and I wanted all the busyness and stuff, and that lasted about 2. I had cut my hair in like a pixie haircut, and I bleached it super blonde, and it was a really weird time in my life. And I think after that, I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. And then once I had kids, it just slowed down a lot, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be a mom and like put my whole heart into it, because it just felt, I don't want to say like that was my purpose, but that was like what I meant to do in this season of life and for the rest of my life. But as that changes, I'm not needed as much, or whatever. So I think trying different lifestyles, growing up and through my teens, and then figuring out getting married. I got married when I was 21, had our first kid when I was 23, and then Sawyer was when I was 25. I was like, okay, this is taking up a lot of my time, and I want to make this intentional. Like I want to be intentional in this season of my life, and part of that is simplifying a lot.
Okay, so how do you do that when you are somebody who understands the importance of it, but you need to be able to get there step by step? Do you know how you did that, or some advice for some of us? Because I love this, and there's areas where I do live simply, but if I knew how to get there better, I think that maybe it would be easier. Not easier. I'm not always looking for the easy out, because it's just not life.
For sure.
But just knowing ways would be really helpful for me.
I would say teamwork. Like, many hands make light work. So anything that I can get help on, like I don't mind asking for help. I needed to go grocery shopping the other day, and my husband and I share a car. So my mom was home, which I never asked her to do. I was like, Mom, would you come hang out with the kids so that I can take your car and go grocery shopping? And it wasn't like the greatest feeling, but at the same time, I was like, the kids get to hang out with Grammy. I get to get done what I need to get done. And then, so bringing in help as needed and not over milking it.
I love that you said that, because people are afraid to ask for help. But I also love that you're like not over milking it, because you have to be respectful. So like, you're going to help me out, maybe I can pick up some things for you from the store, or watch your kids sometime, but so that there's respect towards other people. But people are afraid to ask for help. I personally have been afraid to ask for help. I don't want to put anybody out and things. Like, even my son loves her kids, and I'm like, can my son come over? I feel I don't want to be disrespectful. So, but just not being afraid even to hear not right now, or no, or people love you. They should want to.
Well, and embracing community and friendships, and also knowing that depending on our season of life, like expectations can be detrimental to those things. I think because I put an emphasis on what I want to do here and being here, and also being without a car, like I'm here a lot, during the day. Like some friendships have been hurt because it's like I'm not putting as much of an effort into it as they would want. So it's like those unmet expectations can be hurtful. But also being forgiving and having grace for each other in those times and those seasons can be so healing, because it's like you don't have to, a lot of my friends, like, I don't have to talk to them every day, but I know if I need prayer, if I need something, I'm like, I can go to them and ask for help. Or
just understanding people's seasons is such a big deal.
Right. And the grace and the and the expectations. I feel like expectations kill so many good things.
On that note, because expectations plays a huge part in not being able to live simply. You put expectations on yourself, or you kind of come under the expectations of others, and whose is right? Are you not, doing enough? So you need to be like, okay, I get your expectation, or are you putting too much on yourself, or even too little? So that plays a part in simplifying. So what do you think about expectations when it comes to that?
Well, I never, for myself, I try really hard not to stress about things that don't matter, really. So, like having a clean home is not super high on my expectations or on my priority list.
And if you like a clean home, that's even hard to be like, okay, let it go a little. Right.
And there's some things that I don't care about, and there's some things that I love to have clean in my house. So just figuring out for myself, not really for anybody else, but just for me to sit here and be like, okay, I'm comfortable. I feel good. Because I look at Instagram. I follow a lot of house influencers, and sometimes it is so hard to be like, that's what I want.
Yep.
But then when I sit here, I'm like, but this is what I want. I want my home. I want to be comfortable in what I have and content and like just good, because there's always more. There's always something else.
Yep.
There's always another person to impress or something to show off. And it's one of those things to, I guess, kind of like feeling good in your own skin. Feeling good in your own home.
Yep.
Just living with, even like when it comes to food, it's like, eat healthy, but treat yourself.
Yeah.
Enjoy those treats and stuff sometimes. I think simplicity and balance have been like my goals for motherhood, like letting my kids have treats, but not all the time. My son told our neighbor that she asked at Halloween, can you guys have some candy or like some treats? And for a Halloween little goodie bag that she was making him, my son was like, oh no, my mom doesn't let us have candy. And I was all, excuse me? Yes, you do. Just not all the time. And so it was like, it's never that all or nothing thing. It's like, have some candy. Yeah. But have one. Yeah. And be content. Be good. Yeah. Enjoy it. Yeah.
Enjoying minimal things. Or however you word that. But you sound very conscious. Is it conscious or conscious? What is that word?
I just think of the conch shell from SpongeBob.
You sound very conch shell. I'm just going to use it.
Conscious?
Conscious. You seem very conscious. Nope.
Conscious.
That word.
Conscious.
About your decisions in living simple.
I'm trying. I feel like my husband's much a good balance for me, because like for him, he would have like nothing on the walls. He would have like no books. Like he's needs very little. Okay. But he also loves like the old things like I do, the homemade things like I do. So I feel like where I tend to be drawn to like knickknacks and things like that, he doesn't love it so much. So when it comes to stuff in our home,
and you're allowing his balance to be something that puts you sort of in a good place, I feel like. Yes, he's rubbed off on me, like his habits and his things. When I met him, he had like the tiniest bedroom and had literally nothing. So we moved into our first house and we had like nothing. So Or can we at least buy a couch?
We didn't buy a couch. We had my dad's 1970s crushed velvet floral couch for like, I don't know, 6
I already
months,
love that already though.
9 months.
Why don't you still have it? Oh, this is.
Oh my God, still has it. I don't want it. It was super comfortable. It was high back. It was really nice and comfy, but it was not pretty. It was not pretty. And I love pretty things, but I also don't like buying things. So it's
Well, unless it's at the Goodwill.
right. Almost everything in our house has been a hand-me-down or given to us for free or whatever, with the exception of this couch and that table. Everything else in here is
And it's beautiful.
a hand-me-down. One of the things that I wanted to bring up that was really a huge moment, like in my adult life, was when Curtis's mom passed away super unexpectedly. And I feel like that also put a lot of things into perspective. I feel like we have things that happen in our life, whether it's the loss of a loved one or something fairly traumatic, that makes us reanalyze things that we thought were important that aren't anymore. And when she passed away, it was a brain aneurysm, so it was very, very unexpected. And at the same time, my dad was diagnosed with an autoimmune, and we thought he was gonna die, like 2 months later. And then 2 months later after that, we sold our house and ended up buying this one. So it was like, that was 2014, was like a whole year of trials and change. Curtis lost his job that year, so he didn't have a job all of 2014. But then I look back on that year. That was the year Sawyer turned 1 and Riley was 2. Being able to look back and like, I just feel like it should have felt more chaotic than it was. It was hard. I cried a lot, but there was never a lack of peace, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, it was heartbreaking and it was hard, but all the ways God provided, all the ways that it grew mine and Curtis's relationship, re-evaluated kind of the mom I wanted to be. She was an amazing mom, an amazing grandma. So just being able to look back and to see how God worked through that super terrible, difficult time. We often don't want to say that it's God's will that bad things happen, that He uses things,
everything,
to grow us and to help us. And I don't think that should ever be taken for granted.
right?
You know, that we don't want to just like ignore the bad things that happen.
Because you have to look at that. All of our lives, there's either tragedy or bad things or things we've even, put on our own shoulders by mistakes or whatever it is. And if you're realizing that, like, you have recognized this is what's going on in my year and I'm going to see what God will do, because you can either let life sort of take over and let your emotions run wild. You're like, okay, this is all happening. What are you going to say to me? What are you going to do with my heart? How are you going to help me heal? And just letting God walk you through this process. But this is the example. You're the example of what happens when you allow it. It's not easy. It's very hard and sad, but there can be peace and you can let God work through. And that year you're telling me is something that led to so much fruit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I love this. This is super, it's just a really good testimony to my heart, because we have that choice. We have that choice to say, this is not good. This is a season that's super hard. What am I going to do about that? And really, in our lives, we're like, okay, God, what are you going to show me in this? So, that is amazing.
Yeah. And I feel like that is the question, because I can't tell you how long I cried and how unfair everything felt. Because I definitely had those feelings, and it was like, okay, like, this is life now. This is life without our mom. And so it was because I'd never really gone through anything. I've lost grandparents and stuff, but they were in their 80s and they were older. She was 53. And so it was one of those things that was like, this just doesn't seem.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to journeying to whole and kind of what that looks like for me, I feel like it was really every day is a gift. Keeping it, you know, if this, like when I left Trader Joe's the other day, my brother works there, and I gave him a hug, and he's like, I'm not supposed to hug people, and I'm like, I don't care, because if I die on my way home, I got to hug you. And I'm like, I just never, you never know. And not that I want to live like YOLO, but just
living intentionally is what you're doing.
Intentionally, but still like just having fun. Curtis had a day off the other day, which when he has a day off, that is a day of no income. So it's, you know, messes up the budget, or it does whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, sweet, let's go for a hike. Let's go. I want to show you this place that we've found. Let's go. And it was a Thursday, so nobody was out. And I was like, we've never taken the kids mini golfing. Let's go mini golfing. So we didn't do school. We just went out and explored, and just instead of whining about not working, it was like, okay, let's go do something.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's an attitude also, because it's intentional, but at the same time can be, you know, I want to say spontaneous, but I feel like that's kind of dumb too.
I don't think so.
I think taking each moment for what the moment or what the day brings, but also trying to make the best.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's great. I love it so much. I'm going to leave us here at this spot, and I just want to thank you so much for this. This is, and I'm sure you're like, well, what did I even say? That's important. I mean,
I know.
I am receiving from her life right now. I'm receiving ideas of how to make my life more simple, how to work through situations just by her life and things that she's grown in wholeness. So my baby's crying. I'm ready to get up here, but it's just so important to live life with others and to see other people's stories so that you can grow and wholeness. So this is my friend Emily, and thanks for watching, and thanks her for.
Thank you.
I do want to show you a teeny bit of their house, because some of what she was telling me earlier about her home is that a lot of the things that they have in their home even are very intentional. Like the decorations they have come from grandparents and parents, and all the, you know, the items they buy for reasons that mean things to them. And so living simply, but also able to have like all these wonderful things that are of value to you, and you still have ways to decorate your house. I thought, that's so awesome. It's so cute. And in their kitchen. And then she's got these, you know, antiques and things from her family. And she's got this old-fashioned stove that belonged to her mother-in-law, which is beautiful. What's this here, Emily?
It is a fingerboard for doing pull-ups.
Oh,
With your fingers.
but it's all wood and beautiful. Oh my gosh, even your workout stuff is cute.
Oh gosh, I don't do that. That's crazy.
And her husband built that bookshelf.
Yes.
And then did he do the, what's that called again?
This wood.
Yeah.
Yes, he did that. He built the TV cabinet.
Stop it. He built that.
Yes.
Stop it right now. Her husband built that, you guys. Shush it right now. So, old sewing table from someone in your family? Curtis's mom. Old even shoebox that someone used in their family. And then look at this little table. Hers when she was little. So just having memories everywhere in their home.